Hi, I'm Ronnie Williams. Today's date is 1/4/2023. And for my portfolio 3, I decided to do the feedback loops in the non-graved female reproductive system. A feedback loop is a process in which the output of a system is returned to its input to regulate for the output. Feedback loops are important and play an important role in the life of many species on the planet. A feedback loop is believed responsible for regulating body temperature, maintaining rhythms in many organisms. The cellular processes involved with these feedback loops are highly complex and depend on multiple biochemical pathways that generate chemical signals. It regulates body temperature, maintains the rhythms involved with complex biochemical pathways. The non-graved female reproductive system consists of the ovaries, fallopian tubes, the uterus, and cervix. The ovaries produces hormones, including estrogen and progesterone, which regulate the reproductive cycle. The fallopian tubes connect to the uterus, where the embryo will implant. The uterus comprises the entire area inside the cervix, including the endometrium. The female reproductive system is the body part that helps women or people assigned for female at birth have sexual intercourse, reproduce, and menstruate. The female reproductive anatomy includes both external and internal parts. The function of your external genitals are to protect the internal parts from infection and allow sperm to enter your vagina. Your vulva is the collective name for all your external genitals. The internal parts is the vagina, the cervix, the uterus, ovaries, and the fallopian tubes. As stated before, your vagina is the muscular canal that joins the cervix. The cervix is the lowest part of your uterus, a hole in the middle that allows sperm to enter and menstrual blood to exit. Your cervix dilates to allow a baby to come out during a vaginal childbirth. Your cervix is also what prevents things like tampons from getting lost inside your body. The uterus is a pear-shaped organ that can hold a fetus during pregnancy. Your uterus is divided into two parts, the cervix and the corpus. Your corpus is the larger part of your uterus that expands during pregnancy. Ovaries are small, oval-shaped glands that are located on either side of your uterus. Your ovaries produce eggs and hormones. Your fallopian tubes are narrow tubes that are attached to the upper part of your uterus and serve as a pathway for your egg to travel from your ovaries to the uterus. Fertilization of an egg by sperm normally occurs in the fallopian tube. The fertilized egg then moves to the uterus, where it implants into your uterine lining. How feedback loops are used in a non-graved female reproductive system. Regulates of follicle development. The hypothalamus produces GnRH, which is released into the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland then secretes two hormones, LH and FSH. These hormones travel to the ovary and stimulate the development of follicles, which house the egg cells. B. The regulation of ovulation. As the follicles mature, they produce estrogen, which stimulates the production of LH. The surge of LH triggers ovulation, which is the release of the egg cell from the follicle. In addition, it causes the growth of the endometrium, an organ that lines the uterus. The female reproductive system provides several functions in addition to allowing a person to have sexual intercourse. It also helps a person reproduce. Your ovaries produces eggs. These eggs are then transported to your fallopian tube during ovulation, where fertilization by a sperm may occur. The fertilized egg then moves to your uterus, where the uterine lining has thickened in response to the normal hormones of your menstrual cycle. Once in your uterus, the fertilized egg can implant through the thickened uterine lining and continue to develop. If implantation doesn't take place, the uterine lining is shed as your menstrual period. In addition, the female reproductive system produces sex hormones that maintain your menstrual cycle. During menopause, the female reproductive system gradually stops making female hormones necessary for the menstrual cycle to work. At this point, menstrual cycle can become irregular and eventually stop. You consider to be menopausal when you go an entire year without a menstrual period. The average menstrual cycle takes about 28 days and occurs in phases. These phases include the follicular phase, that's when the egg develops, the ovulatory phase, the release of the egg, and the luteal phase. Hormone level decrease if the egg doesn't implant. There are 4 major hormones involved in the menstrual cycle. That's LH, estrogen, progesterone, and the FSH. This phase starts on the follicle phase starts on the first day of your period. During this phase, 2 hormones, FSH and LH, are released from your brain and travel in your blood to your ovaries. The hormone stimulates the growth of 15 to 20 eggs in your ovary, each in its own shell. The follicle is the shell. These hormones also trigger an increase in the production of hormone estrogen. As the estrogen levels rise, it turns off the production of FSH. Ovulation normally occurs about 14 days after the first day, and most people have a menstrual period of 10 to 16 days after ovulation. During this phase, the following happen: the rise in estrogen, the egg is released, and it causes the dominant follicle to release its egg from the ovary. For 1 to 5 days prior to ovulation, many women will increase in cervical mucus, letting them know that they are fertile. In the luteal phase, LS, this is when intercourse normally takes place and sperm has fertilized the egg. If the egg isn't fertilized, it dissolves in your uterus. The line of your uterus break down and shed, and that is when your period begins. Most women have about 6 million eggs at birth. Well, at birth, they have about 1 million eggs left. By the time you reach puberty, you'll have about 300,000. And as you get older, the number of eggs you have declines. Fertility also declines with the age due to the decreasing number of eggs, quality of the eggs you have. So once after ovulation, the follicle becomes the corpus luteum and produces the progestin. Progestin helps prepare the user for the implantation of a fertilized egg and maintains the uterine lining. If fertilization does not occur, the corpus luteum will eventually degenerate and stop producing progesterone, triggering your period, the menstruation, and the start of another reproductive cycle. So, in conclusion, the feedback loops play an important role in regulating the non-gravid female reproductive system. The hypothalamus and pituitary gland secrete hormones that stimulate the development of follicles, the release of the egg cell, and the production of progesterone. This feedback loop helps to ensure that the reproductive cycle runs smoothly. If anything is lacking, the cycle does not work properly. Also, most women have 2 ovaries. They are oval in shape, about 4 centimeters long, and they lie on each side of the womb against the wall of the pelvis. They are held in place by the ligaments attached to the womb, but isn't directly attached to the rest of the female reproductive system. That's crucial. And here are the references that I use for my presentation.